Oh, shit, chat. Holy shit. It's that time of day again. It's time for the Astra show. Once again, coming at you live from the rec center. Shit, chat. Why did you let the dogs out, you mad woman? Because they wanted to be let out, man. Someone's got to let them out. Where are they supposed to take shits? You got to let them out so they can use the bathroom, you know? It was me. I let them out. Who let these dogs out? It was me. Fit check? Okay. Fit check. Motherfucker, they pissed on his rug. Damn! This shit really tied the room together. Trying to dress less goo. Let's goo? Let's go. Very nice outfit. Yeah, I guess it's kind of topical because of the trade war, but I wasn't thinking about that when I put this outfit on. I just thought it was cute. Go to work like that and see what happens. Well, there is a uniform at work, so if I showed up to work like this, they'd probably tell me, go home and get the uniform that you're provided. Because this is not it. It's dressing for the occasion for the trade war. Lamau. This is I'm wearing this in solidarity for the hundreds of Chinese factories that are now being shut down because of lack of work. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a new job though, because like I haven't heard from them at all, and it's weird. Like I worked on Friday, and I asked the manager lady like, "Hey, when do I come in again?" And I haven't gotten anything. Like they haven't like messaged me at all. So I'm either one gonna have to go in there and just ask, which I guess I could do, or I'm gonna have to like find something else. Cause I don't know what the fuck. Like why they have not contacted me. I did get a voicemail from another place that was like I applied to, I guess, that they were like, "Hey, you still interested?" And I'm like, maybe I am still interested. I don't know yet. It depends if these fucking jackos get back to me. They don't post a schedule? No, they just basically, the way it's been working is they're like, the manager's like, you just come in at Friday at 4. And then I come in at Friday at 4. And then that manager who's been telling me when to show up leaves at the start of my shift. And then the manager who's there at the end of my shift, I'm like, "Hey, do you know when I'm supposed to come back?" She's like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "Okay, we'll just go leave your name and phone number on a sticky note on the desk." And so I did that, and it's been nothing. It's been nothing. A whole lot of nothing. So I don't know, man. That's fucking weird. They ask you the day before you come in. Hello, Moogie. Hold on, wait a minute. Can I get Moogie? Can I get Moogie on the... You gotta be very careful not to spook the Moog as you move the chair. Oh, don't fall off, Moogie. There we go. There we go, Moogies. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Didn't even answer me? What? Did they ask you to come in the day did they ask you the day before you come in? I don't what are you asking? Did they ask me what? Maybe while the manager that knows you is there. I don't know. I don't know what to do because like they both theoretically both of these managers have my phone number now, and I've texted the manager who told me when to show up before, and I mentioned the fact that I texted her to the other manager, and I said that she didn't get back to me, and she said she was like, "That's typical." So maybe I have her phone number wrong, but I'm pretty sure I don't. And so I don't know what's going on with that one, man. That one's a little bit of a weird one. They ask you, do they ask you the come in for each working day individually? So I think are you asking me if they call me to tell me to come in? Do they call you before the day before you? Do they call you the day before you two come in? Chat. English. Please. Please. No, so basically the way it's been working is that she's just basically told me when to come in. Like, not even, it's usually like a couple days out. Like, the first day I worked, I asked her when I come back, and she said come back on Friday. So I worked on like a Monday or Tuesday, and then she said come back on a Friday, and I'm like, okay, and I did, and then they didn't tell me when to come back. That's how I've known to come in, is I just come in there and ask them, and then they're like, yeah, I guess I could probably go in there and just ask again. Like, I just walk in there and be like, hey, when am I supposed to come in? But, like, for now, I don't know. It's like, I'm halfway tempted to try to get some other job that maybe doesn't suck as much, but I don't know yet. Because I don't know how I feel about that shit right now. But then again, it's like, if I go to another job, this could be just as shitty. And they might pay more, though. So that might be something to look into, because the pay is not good. I thought you were capping on or reading that. I tried to. You could. It's not just me, all right? That was Disco. You gotta re-up on your English, bro. I don't know what the hell you're trying to say to me. We used to get We used to get seconds with the house label Cherokee sewn in. Wait, what? My brain is mush right now. That's alright, I understand, Disco. I completely understand. You're lucky this time, motherfucker. I don't know what else to do about it. But, like, I think, I'm pretty sure, like, well, let me look this up really quick. I'm pretty sure the people who hit me up was Walmart. Thank you, Medical, for the 40 bits. Pretty sure it was Walmart. Right? And since but I don't, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is what that is. I don't know what they do there, though, so I might, like, literally just go in and ask. Because, like, that doesn't seem too bad of a dealio either. Especially if they pay better. Like, if it pays, like, $15 an hour, like, that's like a $2 raise. Why? Alright. I just like to point out, I'm not gonna, like, dox which Walmart this is, but I'm probably gonna dox what Walmart that is. And the Google, like, review images, one of the images of the Google reviews is just the wall of sex toys at Walmart that they have now. And I was kind of like, what? What? Histra not catching the drift at Chipotle.
Scotty, come here. Papa squat right next to Daddy. Enemy? Down the bench. There's your power struggle.
What?
Scotty's on fire. All right, it's getting crowded in here. Everyone out. Everyone out. Come on. Not you, Scotty. Not you, number 2. Not you, Frap. Not you, gold member. Not you guys back there. Not you, henchman holding wrench. Not you, henchman arbitrarily turning knobs, making it seem like you're doing something. Oh, this is uncomfortable. Anyone can take a hint.
I don't know, man. The fucking gold member just wasn't as good as the other two. I'm sorry, it just wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. It just wasn't as good. You didn't read the bit message? Showing up late to work? What? Did I show up? I did. The only time I didn't show up to work on time was when I showed up early to work, and then I got a little bit of trouble because I clocked in like 10 minutes early, and I wasn't supposed to do that apparently. But so no, I did not show up to late. I did not show up to work late. They mini-me'd you. Did they? Did they mini-me me? Did they mini-me me? They never told, but it's the thing, like, you'd think that they would let me know, like, hey, you're not performing really in the way that we want you to. It seems weird to, like, train somebody and to go through all that whole onboarding process and then to have them work 2 shifts and then just, like, not contact them. It's like, what? Okay. I don't know. I just, like, for the amount, first of all, I don't even think, like, the amount of hours I've worked there so far, they're not giving me, like, any hours. Like, I've worked fucking, like, 9 hours in total, maybe, and it's like, that's not gonna pay the bills. So I have to, like, figure out what I'm gonna do. I might go apply at some other places, and we'll see. I don't know. Maybe they'll call me, and I'll go back in. If they call me and say, hey, can you come back in? I'll be like, okay. Okay. Just had a trouble tying up the alligator. The mini-me, you just size of an insect. Mini-me. It always bothered me how much he betrayed my boy Mini-me in that scene, though. He really did. Scott's a bitch. I just hung out with Seth Green for a few months, not long before he made that movie. Really? That's kind of cool. Honestly, like, the first couple Austin Powers movies were so fucking good. I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know about the third one that makes it better. Like, I watched some videos saying how about, like, the whole Austin Powers, like, series was kind of based off of Mike Myers' dad. And so maybe that's why there was so much, like, dad stuff in the third movie. And so maybe it was kind of a bow and for, like, Mike Myers, but it always just felt forced. Whenever I watched that movie, there's like a couple of funny parts, but it just, like, the whole movie kind of just, it doesn't even, like, explain what happened to the chick from the last movie. It doesn't do any of that, and it shoves all of this, like, bullshit in, like, with his character. Like, I think they kind of just fuck up his character. They make him too emotional and too real. It just doesn't work in that kind of movie. The movie takes itself too seriously, which is something that other movies do perfectly. Like, the first 2 movies don't take themselves too seriously at all, and it's perfect. But the third movie is, like, takes itself way too seriously. The mole part is pretty funny, though. I won't lie. The mole part is pretty funny. Why did they have to, like, why did they have to get rid of the other chick? Like, why did they have to replace her? In the first movie, right, the side chick turned out to be a robot, right? So that makes sense. But then in the second movie, I don't know. What are you doing, movie? The more molly. Hello, Moogie. Man, the early 2000s were a really good time for Mike Myers. Like the penis gimmick. That's not my penis enhancer pump. Availability of the actress. Yeah, but I almost feel like it would have been more funny if they had acknowledged it. Like, if in the movie they were like, hey, what happened to the last chick that you were with? Who? Right? If they had done that, would have made it so much funnier. Like, the movie has several plot holes, like, especially in the second one, and they're just like, they make it into a bit, because they're just like, hey, there's this really, how does this work? This makes no sense. And they're just like, oh, don't ask questions. What? Who? Like, and it's funny, because, like, that's the whole, like, vibe of the movie. It's just, fuck it, who cares? Baby arm holding an apple. father-son dynamic in that film was quite forgettable, but then again, I like Michael Caine. Yeah, but, you know, I don't like a movie just because it has actors that I like in it, you know what I mean? It's like, sure, it might have some cool actors here and there, but they're not like... There's a lot of bad movies that have good actors in them, that you're like... Man, I wish that this character wasn't... Or I wish this actor wasn't in this movie because it's so fucking bad. What cosplay is this? It's the Astra cosplay from A Basement in Florida with Love. Even though I'm not in a basement, and they really don't have basements in Florida. I'm biased. That's fair. Sexy girl cosplay. That was actually not that bad a title name. What, this time? Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Sometimes I'll sit here for like minutes just trying to like find like a title like for the stream, and I'm just like, god damn it. Like, sometimes that's a struggle, but today I was just like, it was me. I let them up. Good lord, you were a tripod? What? Chris Pratt starring every main character ever. Guess what? It's Chris Pratt! Yay, everybody's favorite. It's a me, Chris Pratt. China has been exposing luxury brands. China has been exposing luxury brands? I mean, China's been doing a lot, but... I don't know. It's crazy. I don't even know what's going on with China right now, dude. China's fucked up. I would not want to be Chinese right now. Being Chinese right now would not be good. This dress is a good thing I already have this dress, because it probably costs 5 times as much right now that it did when I think Derek was the one who got this. It's a me. Mario said unenthused. It's me, Mario. Does China make and export guns? No, not really. Most of the guns that are... A lot of U.S. manufacturing of guns. There's a lot of guns made in the U.S. And the other ones that aren't, like... a lot of guns I have are, like, Romanian and Russian. Like, this one was made in Russia. So it probably would be kind of hard to get a hold of nowadays, but it's, you know... I don't know how long this has been in the country for, but this is a pretty nice little handgun. I need to get some more mags for it, because I don't know, every time I pick this up, I'm like, damn, I want to shoot this thing. A lot of guitars are gonna get expensive. Not, I mean, there are Chinese guitars, right, that are not good, but like, as a guitarist, I'm not worried about that, because any guitar that's worth a damn is made in either, some decent ones are made in Mexico. Pretty much the best guitars are made in the US, like, or Europe. It's like if you're gonna buy a fancy, nice guitar and you want it to be a good quality, like a Gibson, if you're gonna buy a Gibson, depending on the Gibson you buy, I guess it depends, but like Gibsons are still made in the US. Like if you buy a modern Gibson and it's like a good guitar, it's probably made in the U.S. I don't know what this Carvin's made. I could probably check to see what the Carvin right there is made in. But, like, I don't know if I have any guitars that are made in Japan, or in China. I think I have a Korean guitar, but I don't think I have any Chinese guitar. Spain? Are Carvins made in Spain? Disagree is the last one, Lexus. Some good ones are made in Indonesia, too, yeah. Korea. Before transitioning, I made a serious effort in buying American-made cloth. It's so much more difficult to find American-made female cloths. Fashion is just too fast, I guess. Yeah, like, in the textile industry, textiles are the biggest thing. So, like, this is probably going to go way up in price. Like, things like this, the Temu items that are just, like, really cheap Chinese clothes, that shit is going to get super expensive. But generally, like... I don't know, like, here's the deal. Things that it will affect, like, every one of us. Every one of us is gonna have, like, a moment where we go to the store and we try to buy something that we've used to being able to buy, and it's either gonna be completely unavailable or completely overpriced. And that's just the way it's gonna be. Like, that's just the nature of trade wars, right? But, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what do I buy other than, like, vape sticks that I want to get from China? Like, what do I buy from China, me specifically? And I don't think I buy that much from China. Like, I don't think I have any Chinese guns. I don't have any Chinese guitars. I mean, this monitor's probably China. No, this monitor's Korean. It's Samsung. So it's not... Maybe it was made in China, but it's a Korean brand. Did Korea make this monitor? I don't know. I do need a new monitor, because this one has a big-ass red line in it. I don't know if you can tell. If you can see what I'm talking about here. Oh, this is not working. Oh, yeah, there you go. Look at this line. That's right here. Look at that shit. It's having a stroke right now, but... A lot of components will come from China. Components do come from China, but it seems like they've already been in the process of, like, changing where they make shit from. Like, Vietnam has been getting a lot of investment lately. Just, like, not just recently, but in the past, like, years. Like, there are a bunch of brand new factories in Vietnam that are being built and being completed right now. Because, like, when COVID happened, the U.S. made, like, a concerted effort to diversify our, like, logistics chain. And I guess part of that was moving a lot of that stuff to Vietnam. And I'm not entirely sure why, but that is a thing that happened. You could just sneak over the border, do your shopping, sneak back in, and like all my amigos. Just use the red line as a divider. She used the red line. It's actually pretty easy to ignore, but I probably like... my only two monitors are like a normal monitor with a red line in the middle, and then the other one's a literal CRT. A 4x3 CRT. I probably should get like a proper... decent monitor that doesn't have a line down the middle of it at some point, but we'll see. I think I actually have one in Iowa in that storage unit. It's in that storage unit, so I can't get it. You could just yeah. Kind of like a lot of American cars that are made in Mexico with Chinese parts. True. It's like American cars aren't made in America. That is true. They're made in Canada and Mexico, which is dumb. I used to buy a Roundhouse USA made duck cotton work pants. They're not going to be making women's jeans. China is going to be just fine. China's most pressing issue recently has been social, not economic. So trade war with the U.S. will only straighten solidarity with the CCP against the U.S. I don't know. I don't know about that one, dude. Like, this is a big, like, hit on China's economic prosperity. Like, China's not been doing great, like, economically. Like, they've not been doing fantastic before this happened. And then this happened, because, like, China was starting to hit the same thing that Japan hit in, like, the 90s. So, like, after World War II, Japan, like, industrialized and then, like, grew at a rate that was insane. Like, Japan's, like, growth was absolutely unparalleled for, like, a good couple decades. And then they hit a balloon, and then they kind of plateaued, and they have not been able to push back on that. And it's like China has kind of had a similar situation where they keep inflating it, and eventually it's gonna pop. And I feel like we're getting to that point where it's about to pop, and this, like, the tariffs on top of that are making things really difficult. Like, the economics in China are not great right now. At least as far as I know. And I don't really know anything, so don't take my word for that. The stream set up looks like an office. It is kind of like an office. I mean, it is like a little office area, but the wall moves back, but yeah. Is it look thick and juicy today? Is it the lighting? I don't know. China with newly made ghost cities. The China has been slowing down economically as well as population. China's biggest threat is probably the population. I would say if I was Chinese, then my biggest concern would be getting people to have babies. If I was China, I would, like, stop worrying about growing economically and worry about growing people-wise, because there just isn't nearly enough young people in China. Like, it's bad. It's worse in Korea, I think. Like, South Korea has, like, a worse problem with this, but it's really bad in China. Like, there are not enough young people in China, and the young people that do exist can't find jobs, and it's very problematic. It's like, I forget what it's called, but it's like de-inflation is a thing that's been happening, and you'd think that that's a good thing, but it's not. It's really not. It's like shops can't they can't make profits on items because prices keep going down because there's so little demand, because the people don't have any money to spend, so the prices of things go down because no one's buying them, because no one has any money to spend, because no one can get jobs, because no one's buying products in China. It's wild, dude. It's like China's main, like, economic driver has been foreign trade, and that foreign trade has just basically been severed. I don't know what's going on. My guess is China's gonna attack. They're gonna attack. They're gonna. I don't know. That's just that's what I think. I think they're gonna go after Taiwan. The CCP has been propping up in yuan and its economy for so long that if they do not find a way to bring this to a quick end, it will hasten the end to the slow motion collapse that has been going on for the past 2 years since Biden passed the CHIPS Act. You could get a lot of work modeling for Asian companies, though. Really? I would live in Vietnam. Even when they do hire salarymen in SK, they're treated fucking horribly. Yeah. China has a female problem because all the female babies they killed for decades is catching up to them. There's that. There's a lot of problems. China has, like, several huge problems that they're facing right now. And as an American, I'm like, damn, America, it's got so many problems. How are we ever going to fix all these issues that we have in America? Then I look at China, and I'm like, we don't have it that bad. There's evidence that China's population is not as high as they claim. They claim 1.4 billion, but it's likely less than 800 million. Really? That's a big jump. 800 million COVID deaths were huge, and the values were a lie beforehand. Evidence is based on consumption figures. Interesting. That's kind of wild. That's scary. I don't know. I just see China as being very desperate right now. I don't know what's going on with the terrorists. At first, I was like unsure of what was happening, and then I was like, oh, he must have blinked. That's why. It was the bond market that made him blink, and so he kind of pussied out. But then I'm looking at this from, like, an actual geopolitical perspective, and it's like, damn, that did some work. Like, fuck, dude. Like, if you look at all of, like, the countries that were, like, around China and helping China, all of them are abandoning China. It is wild. Like, Vietnam, the Asian countries, not, like, Asian, but, like, ASEAN, the countries, which is basically, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, those kind of countries that are all kind of together. They literally, like, signed a thing saying that we're not going to work with China on this one. We're going to side with America on this. And it's wild. It's like, that's not good for China. That's bad for China. Last time it was COVID, this time will be twine. That's interesting. My dad kept telling us that China has a population of 2 billion. This kid's starving in China. You should eat all that food on your plate because there's kids starving in China. That'd be wild. Although that's what happened to the population. Whenever your dad would say there's kids starving in China, you didn't listen to them, and all those kids starved because you didn't give them your leftovers. That's what happened. Be wild though, although kind of desperate. Bold-faced lie does make sense for China. China will have to ban anal. South Korea hates China. Yeah, I heard a report, and this is something that's crazy. Like, what's his name? Fuck, I forget what his name is. Seth, it's not Seth Green. What is his name? I was watching this video. It's like the Vlog Brothers or whatever his name is. I don't even know if he's one of those, like, science YouTubers that's like, I know what I'm talking about because I like science and Reddit. You know, that kind of guy? I don't even know if he, like, purposely lied on this, because I doubt that he, like, said, oh, I'm gonna lie about this, but he straight up, like, claimed that China, South Korea, and Japan signed a free trade agreement in response to the tariffs. And that is just straight up not true. Like, that is absolutely not true. Like, he even said it, like, this is crazy. Look how they did this. They did this. Look at it's historical because China and South Korea did this thing, even though they hate each other. But it's just because of Trump. It's like, no, that's just straight up didn't happen. That's just a lie. That's like, they did not do that. They have come out and like said, no, we didn't do that. It's like, what the fuck? And I've heard several people like state that. It's amazing. A big chunk of South Korea, at least. Vietnam were at war with China after Vietnam due to border disputes or something. It was because of Cambodia. Because Cambodia was getting a little bit too rowdy, even for communist Vietnam. And so communist China backed communist Cambodia. And then the killing fields happened. And so Vietnam went to war with the support of Russia against Cambodia, who went to war with Vietnam with the support of China. It was a weird, a lot of infighting, a lot of communist infighting. Very interesting period of time. Is the UK an Asian country now? South Korea, Japan, and China particularly hate each other. They do particularly hate each other. That's a long-standing rivalry right there. Some of the South Korean government is in bed with China, so it could be possible. It could be possible, but it's just straight up not true. That didn't happen. So China, Japan, and South Korea, they have this annual meeting. Basically, and the whole idea is that they're gonna come together and try to figure out how to do trade with each other that will benefit everybody. And so it's like an annual thing. They've been doing it since 2012. So like, I mean, shit, dude. I'll just show it because fuck it, why not? It's this guy, right? He made this like whole thing about like how this happened, but it's just like
of the European Union. And if you're worried about someone skipping out on a tariff by sending a product to a country, picture exists. Have worked with other trading partners in the West, like America and Europe, so that they do not have to
If
work
anyone doesn't like this, by the way, I'm sorry.
directly with each other. But now, apparently, we've pushed them to figure out their problems, which is great for China, that's for sure. World peace, I guess. Just the fact that this picture exists, you guys.
This picture is so stupid. There's a picture that's the exact same as this picture from 2024 before Trump was even in office. It's like he's implying that this picture is a result of the tariff.
S tier crazy. We're finally getting to the S tier. Japan, China, and South Korea. In response to all of this instability that has been created by a bunch of, like, not just this, but just no one knowing what's going on with the US anymore, they signed a significant trade agreement, and I just need to emphasize, these countries do not...
That's just not true. Like, that's straight up not true. That's a fucking bold-faced lie. Like, that is not even remotely true. Not even a single part of that statement that he just made was true. They did not sign a trade agreement. They did not do it in response to anything. The picture was is not a unique picture. There's 13 of those pictures because they've been doing it since 2012. It's crazy, dude. China will not attack Taiwan. The idea of retaliating against the U.S. on the other side of the world by attacking people next door who look like you is absurd. Well, China has other reasons for wanting Taiwan. China doesn't want Taiwan because America doesn't want China to have Taiwan. China wants Taiwan because Taiwan is extremely important right now because they are the world's chip manufacturers. Like, they are the biggest chip manufacturer in the world. And there are certain chips that you can only make in Taiwan because the only companies that have the ability to make those chips are in Taiwan. And that's a problem for China because that's like, as AI gets better, you need those fancy chips that you can only make in Taiwan. So it's like incredibly important. It says 2025 here. Hold on. You want to see something wild, chat? You want to see something wild? You want to see something crazy? Look at that. Oh, look at that. It's the same fucking picture from 2020, May 27th, 2024. Back when, oh, you know, Biden was in office? This is crazy that this picture exists. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. does say 2025 in the background, but there are pictures you can find that same like handshake pictures from other years, because again, they've had that summit every year since 2012. They've had 13. It's the 13th. That summit was on March 30th of last month, and it was the 13th annual meeting of those people. Potato chips have become a competitive industry. I don't even like potato chips anymore. Let me guess who I'll believe more, Astra or Hank Green. I'm not even saying Hank Green is like specifically lying. Like, I'm not trying to imply that Hank Green is out here just trying to give people misinformation. I think he probably read something on Reddit and then didn't look into it himself and just, monkey brain just spat it out because he assumed it was true even though it wasn't. The guy who said azodiaz was turbo dangerous hell chemical. It was some sense less. What? They did make a statement in the response to America this year. They didn't make beforehand, I believe. I mean, maybe, but they didn't. They certainly, South Korea and Japan's Minister of Economics have both came out and made clarifying statements in English, clarifying that no, they did not sign a significant agreement. They basically come together every year and basically agree that they all want to work towards free trade between the countries so that they can ensure beneficial trade between all parties involved. But it's an ongoing process. It's not like oh yeah, we signed this thing. It's like we're trying to work towards it, but they've been trying to work towards that for 13 years. Dude in the middle got a haircut? Damn, you're right. You're right. They did make a statement in response to America this year. They didn't. Yeah. Let's start Twitter beef, dude. I'm down. Let's start Twitter beef. Let's start start giving people beef on Twitter. That kind of thing is from people listening to single source news. Yeah. I don't know. That's why I don't I'm hesitant to believe anything. I'm hesitant to say even that. I know right now it feels like we're winning the trade war, but I'm almost hesitant to even say that because you never know, right? Who knows what's going on, right? So maybe we're being tricked. I tricked some people with the image I just posted in memes. Image of coal miner truly escaped from how greedy people can be just to get cash circa 1842. What? An image of a minor coal miner. What? Hold on. What is this? China-South Korea trade agreement. This gives some important context. Discussion. The agreement stalled in 2019 and suddenly got resurrected in recent weeks, so it is true that something's happening in response to the U.S. tariffs. Economics issue. 10 member states of the Asian nation negotiations began in earnest in 2013, and the agreement went into effect in 2021. 3 nations continue to negotiate an additional and more comprehensive agreement, the trilateral investment. They stalled after the second 2019 summit, but resumed in 2024 with the first Japan-South Korea trilateral summit in over 4 years. After 2019 have been mired by weak public interest in Japan and South Korea and increasing geopolitical tensions between China and the other 2 potential members. Additionally, some implementation of RCEP has made a creation of new agreement less pressing. In 2025, the industry trade agreement officials from the 3 nations met to discuss enhanced trade in the face of U.S. President Trust. The South Korean Trade Minister An Duk-guin, I don't know if I said that right, said at the summit, it is necessary to strengthen the implementation of RCEP, in which all 3 countries have participated in, and to create a framework for expanding trade and cooperation among the 3 countries through Korea, China, Japan, FTA negotiations. I mean, that just sounds like... It just kind of sounds like, yeah, we want more money from each other. I don't think that says anything, really. Is it dress for us for war with China? Steve from Minecraft movie. Can we redeem Kermit voice? Yeah. I'll do the fit check in a second. I just assumed everything I see online, and especially in the news, is at least aggravated or misrepresented until proven otherwise. Yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. It is the current increase in negotiations. For example, Europe and China has restarted negotiations on limited EV tariffs. By the way, there's no way to win a trade war like this. Japan and South Korea are all working with China now because you can't trust America. But I don't think that's true, Savvy, though. I think that's... I'm pretty sure that's not true. Like, Japan, South Korea, and China are not working with each other specifically. Because you gotta understand, it's basically... The way these tariffs are laid out, it's basically you either side with China or America. And pretty much every country that's not so, like, completely in bed with China has not sided with China. Like, the European Union, like, China opened negotiations with the European Unions about increasing their EVs, like, sales there. But, the European Union was like, no, we're not gonna let you dump EVs in Europe. Like, that's... They didn't allow that to happen. Plus, all the Asian countries, I don't know how you say that. The Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, blah, blah, blah. Those countries have all, like, signed a non... I don't know if they signed a non-retaliatory thing, but there's a lot of countries who, like, specifically say that we're not going to retaliate and that we're just going to work with it, which is it's just wild. It's currently increasing in negotiations for... Yeah. I just don't think that they're, like, actually... I don't think anybody's working with China. Like, it seems that most countries are actively choosing the U.S. over China. It seems like the tariffs were done in a way to basically give people the option of working with China or the U.S., and pretty much everybody is working with the U.S. From what I can see, that's what's happening. But again, I could be wrong. Who knows? I only get my geopolitics from femboys wearing Asian-inspired clothing. Obviously. Look up Block Heast. He explains it better than I can. He makes it plain and easy to understand. Yes, he is green. What does that mean? I predict India will refuse to choose sides. Absolutely not. India's already chosen a side. Why would India ever not choose a side? The trade war is just solely beneficial to India. I always thought Asian is pronounced Asian, but I've seen it written. I don't know. Pressure, you look. Have you been entertaining Japanese businessmen? I've been negotiating trade deals between Japanese and South Korean and Chinese businessmen. I find it hard to believe that the nations of the SK will ever be so distrustful of the U.S. over current administration, which can replace in 4 years to forgive them, forget the atrocities committed by Japan in places like Nanking and such. Yeah, I don't think South Korea really has like a problem with like that, because that was like, it doesn't affect their current trade. But I feel like there's a bigger untrust of China than there is of the U.S. One key thing is the pro-tariff people are looking at over is that the global connection world component subassemblies more between countries multiple times during manufacturing of a finished product. Low friction movement goods between Far East countries improves efficiency and cost effectiveness. It's just more than just a tax on finished product. Yeah, but that's why they're like moving factories to like Vietnam. India has chosen the side of India. What about Greenland? No one can trust us anymore. Greenland. Greenland just hates Danish. I don't think Greenland likes the U.S. or the Danish anymore. I think you're in an echo chamber. The U.S.'s name in international commerce is mud right now, and everyone is talking about about how to deal with it. I don't know, CRJ. I've looked into it, and everything I can find is countries not taking China's side on this one. I don't know. Maybe you're in an echo chamber. But I don't know. Maybe I'm in an echo chamber. Maybe we're both in an echo chamber. I have no idea. But it seems to me, at least, from my surface level of research, is that nobody is going into China. It's like Europe is siding with the U.S., Southeast Asia is siding with the U.S., pretty much everybody except for hardcore Chinese countries are siding with the U.S. They already standing deals and negotiations around 2014. It said, yeah. I'd move to Greenland, even more untouched than Alaska. As long as no one affects this thick Asian content creator. Also, I owe a fit check, by the way. Fit check. Tariff this ass, China. Sorry, Woogie. That would be Europe that announced retaliation against U.S. terrorists. Yeah, but Europe is the only country that, or not the only country, I don't know if they're the only country. It's like European and Canada or like something like that. I don't know exactly which, but I do know that like the European like trade minister, it was like blocking China's attempt to try to dump EVs into the European market or something like that. I just want to be Grizzly Adams. People see me come in from the mountains and say the hell away. I don't know. I just don't know if I don't know, it seems like more and more countries are like growing to. I don't know, chat. It seems like a lot of countries are not working with China, and a lot of countries are eager to work with the U.S. because it was like the whole tariff thing was like, oh, don't tariff us 60%. Oh no, don't do that. And then he lowered it. He did the whole art of the deal thing where he made an outrageous demand and then like lessened it and then just basically said, okay, well, we're not going to tariff you a shit ton if you don't work with China. And it seems like every country is just like, yep, we're not working with China. India specifically, I feel like is a big player in this whole thing that people don't think about, because India is in an apt position to take over China's role as the world's factory. There is a ton of people in India. They're like one of the only countries that has a population that's growing and not about to shrink. So it's very, very like in a good position to take over the world's factory title from China. And so I feel like from India's perspective, these tariffs are just like good for them, because any tariff that hurts China benefits India. Hello, Puck. Hello, Puck. You're like, I can't see the chat because you're standing in front of it. What does the mean when these countries could attempt negotiations with the U.S. while also expanding, diversifying their trade markets? There's no way the EU will cut ties with the US, neither can afford to. Yeah. India doesn't like China, they don't. America will often penalize other countries for working counter to its desires. India is growing fast, but India does have a lot of internal issues. True, but so does China. And it feels like India's a closer US ally than China is. I feel like if World War III broke out, Myanmar would be the border. You know how, like, in the Cold War, if the Cold War ever went hot, the border would be Berlin? I think that if World War III broke out and, like, Taiwan became a thing, I think one of the places the war might go hot is, like, Myanmar, right there. During 2016 to 2020, EU started working way more with China on their space program. Hold on, let me just ask Grok, because Grok knows everything.
Hi, everyone.
Grok is not biased, right, chat? Grok totally isn't biased. What does Grok say? Grok, how has Europe responded to the April 2nd tariffs? Grok. Nana, was that you? Definitely need a kitty cam dedicated to Puck and Moogie. Yeah. Grok never lies. Well, the thing about Grok is it just aggregates, like, it's basically a Google search that kind of just, like, does everything for you, which is kind of nice. Grok never lie. Nobody wins in the U.S. U.S. pursues tariffs, so the rest of the world would rather the U.S. didn't. That doesn't mean the rest of the world would suffer as badly as the U.S. I see it, that's the problem, though, is I see a lot of like countries, like leaders of countries saying they like the tariffs, mainly because the issue is that China, when China entered the World Trade Organization, they started really not following the rules, and that started to be like really bad for the rest of the world. Like China was just not following the rules, and they were taking advantage of other countries. So a lot of other countries view the tariffs as a way of separating Western trade from China, and a lot of people like that, like India. Why is this not loading? Regenerate. Hello? It's not... Chat, it's not... What? What has been the... let me just ask. How has South Korea responded to U.S. tariffs? Alright, I guess I'm not allowed to ask Grok. Grok is dead. Rip. All of this is happening just from Tony from LC Science. Got a popular tragic. Yeah. Hey, homie, it's Tony. I mourn for Tony. Femboy streamer finds out AI is just super advanced Google search from 2025. I mean, that's all it is. How much is the bottom of Astra? Let's get a sense of proportion here. Yes, China has played fast and loose with the rules and is not popular. If you'd ask anyone 2 months ago who'd have said that. But now the USA is the world's #1 problem by a big margin. I don't think that's true, CRJ. I don't think other countries view it that way. I do not believe that the U.S. is everyone's biggest issue right now. I think that people view it as a U.S. versus China trade war, and it's everybody's problem. Like, again, I've read this a couple places that Europe has not, like, taken China's side with this. It's like, if you're Europe, you can either side with China or side with the U.S., and siding with China basically removes the U.S. market. And it's like the U.S. market is not even close. It's way more valuable than the Chinese market. It just is. And there's like, it's just a simple number game at that point. Like, no one's going to side with China because it's just, you're betting on a losing game at that point. And it's like, I think a lot of countries see it for what it is. And it's not just America fucking shit up. It's just America actively removing China from the world trade, like, space. I don't know, though. I'm just a fanboy. I don't really know anything. So don't take my word for this, chat. I'd be for the terrorists if Trump regime wasn't being so stupid about it. I don't know what to think. Because, like, at first, because, like, every time, like, I look back at it, and I look at, like, the results of the terrorists, I'm like, damn. I mean, if we ended up getting, like, making all of Southeast Asia into strong U.S. allies, that would fuck China up. Like, they would not be able to do anything about that. Like, that is bad for China. And it looks like that's exactly what just happened. Vagina has been shady for a long time. This has been debunked. They did not use tariffs to calculate the response. It was a trade deficit. It's reverse Nixon? What about the aggro market? Trump is getting rid of mini-me's was something people overlooked way too hard. Wait, what? Trump got rid of mini-me's? Not the mini-me's! Astra, you are a legitimate expert. What are you talking about? Right, yes, I am geopolitical expert. I know everything there is to know about geopolitics. Do you think the big bulk of tariffs have not gone into effect or been repealed because countries are coming to the table? Well, it seems to me the whole point of the tariffs was not to implement 80% tariffs on places like Vietnam. From what it seems like the whole point of the tariffs were to freak everybody out and then lay them out a way to not get tariffs that way. It's basically the U.S. saying, we're going to draw a big-ass line in the sand, and you're either going to be on our side of it, or you're going to be on China's side of it. And if you're on China's side of it, you get tariffed 100%. And if you're on our side of it, you get tariffed 10%. And it's like, if you're asking these countries to choose China over the American market, they're always going to choose the American market, just because it's way more valuable. And it's just like... If you're advising the president, what would you recommend? Definitely make fully automatics illegal again. That would solve everything. I don't know how it would solve everything. It just would. Just do it. Come on. I want my third pin. The USA used to be the world's largest economy by GDP, but with China second. But as the past few weeks, seriously, big enough fuck up that they may have changed? I don't think that's true, CRJ. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think China is fucked up, dude. I've just been seeing videos upon videos about Chinese factories that are literally empty. It's like, that's a big hit to their economy. Like, it's not a small thing about their economy. Like, I am, like, worried about China. I've read the theory that Trump was forced to drop the tariffs by EU, Japan, and Canada by them threatening to Trump to sell the U.S. government bonds since they are kind of sit on them longer leverage since they hold them so high amount of them. Maybe, but it seems to me that it does seem like a classic Trump way of doing things to do it the way he did. No country will choose the USA over China right now. That's just not true, though, CRJ. Like, that's not true. India, Mexico, Japan, South Korea, all of the Asian countries, literally all of them. I don't think that you're right on that one. I think if you're gonna, especially since, because here's the thing, it's not just the GDP of China that you're looking at, it's the consistency of China. China has been a big stinker in the world market, and they have not been doing fair trading practices with other countries. And so from other countries' perspective, if they're not playing fair, why would you side with them when you know you could side with somebody who is going to play at least more fair than China is? And it's like, I just don't see, especially with China's support of Russia, especially with China's ambitions in Taiwan, that scares the rest of the world like a lot. I think those two things specifically cause the rest of the world to be hesitant to side with China just because. So that you already like countries are not going to want to side with China just because of that, regardless of anything else.
That Astra motherfucker stole my chance.
Astra's right about one thing though: the reports that China are taking are overblown. You cannot trust any numbers coming out of the PRC. Yeah. Chinese consumers also don't buy nearly as much. The average U.S. consumer in China isn't as good as a market for exports. Yeah, that's the main thing, is that the American consumer market is just not, it's just invaluable for places like Vietnam. China will ship their shit en masse while being picky about what gets imported. Do you think all the countries would work as a team to blow up an asteroid from the end of humanity, or China or Korea would be like, oh, you want our help? Yeah, no, they wouldn't. Do we turn this into a chill stream? It is a chill stream. I'm having fun. But yeah, we could change the topic. You think China's interest in Taiwan will worry people more than the U.S.'s interest in Canada? Oh yeah! Canada is not a pivotal building block in the global supply chain. If China controls Taiwan, the rest of the world is basically subservient to China. It's like the semiconductors and like the chips that are produced in Taiwan are invaluable. You cannot run a modern military without them. And so if you control Taiwan, if China controlled Taiwan, they would absolutely dominate the market on chips and like semiconductors, and that would basically mean that China is by far the most powerful country in the world. Well, it absolutely scares countries more than US's ambition in Canada. If US just walked into Canada and took it, that's not going to dramatically change the rest of the world. If China walked in Taiwan and took it, it's going to dramatically change the rest of the world. Let's talk about drugs or something. Not likely. Oh, don't leave. Oh, come on, don't leave. Yeah, but what do tariffs do that consume power? What do tariffs do that to that consumer power? Yeah, but I think that our market's a little bit more stable to handle it. I don't know. I could be wrong, Chad. I'm certainly not like an expert on this. China is a joke economically. Anyone who believes China has any economic power, either internally or abroad, really shows that they don't invest and follow the reality on the ground. It's all a huge case of spinning plates, and this trade war is going to cause it all to come crashing down. Today's news: Femboy in knock of Wednesday Addams cosplay solves New York economic deficit. Also, someone redeemed the fit check. Sergey, where do you get your news from? I'm curious. Just curious. A war with Taiwan will mean the destruction of the chip manufacturing. Taiwan would burn the industry to the ground rather than let the CCP have it. Maybe. So I'd like to be informed about THC derivatives and why some are legal and while others aren't. Well, it all starts in 2018. Trump signed a 2018 farm bill that basically allowed you can sell products that contain less than 0.3% THC by volume. And so THC derivatives like THCP, which is a lab-grown chemical, which is kind of like based off of THC, and it's like I think you extract it from THC, but it's not THC. Since that is not THC and it contains less than 0.3% THC by volume, is legally sold in the U.S. and that's federally legal now. That's why Delta 8 is legal. That's why THC is legal. That's why TSAA is illegal, and THC whatever the fuck is legal. That's why all that shit's legal, and why some states in specifically have banned those chemicals in specifically to combat them becoming we basically being legal now. China's exports. Oh yeah, that's definitely not. I don't know how like reliable trend or economy is, but according to this, USA share U.S. exports, China's exports to the U.S. is 14%, a 501 billion dollar industry. So yeah, no, I don't think China is 3%. I don't think the U.S. is 3% of China's exports. I could be wrong. THCP is fire. It is. Risking pushing China into a recession is not the same thing as risking bringing down the entire Chinese economy. I brought weed today. I've been working myself into a headache every day. Nice. States that ban Delta products are states where weed is legal. That's not true, actually. Iowa banned Delta 8, and weed is not legal in Iowa. Iowa is just a bad place. This is another reason why you should never go to Iowa, chat. Spin my Mandarin ballerina. I'm gonna try asking Grok another question. Oh yeah, Grok's still dead. Did I actually take over Astra's mind? Because I don't know Astra would knew that since she doesn't smoke it as much as Bad Vibes. Well, Bad Vibe, I mean, it's a fair point. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. I do like to indulge, and I also like to not break the law, because you know, I don't want to have to like break the law, especially when I don't have to, and I can legally buy alternatives that are not breaking the law. It's been redeemed? Oh shit. Alright. Okay, there we go. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Ask Grok if Elon Musk were a secret femboy, how good of a femboy he would be. I don't think. Have you seen Elon Musk shirtless? Not femboy material, if you ask me. It is possible to respect the CCP without liking it. Yeah, I don't know if I respect the CCP, man. CCP is pretty fucked up. If you were a dictatorship that actively massacres like native people in your land, I don't like you very much. That's the whole thing that people like to forget about China, is they never stopped with the camps, and they never stopped like completely fucking up the Uyghur people, like really fucked up. Everybody likes to forget about that one, but I mean, who? Uyghur people? I've never heard of them. My Chinese friend just called me and told me that I have to change the subject. Remember when KFC ran out of chicken in the Boondocks? Elon Musk's daughter disowns him, vice versa. Damn, I'm fucking starving right now, chat. You have no idea how hungry I am. After this stream, I'm gonna go make myself some ramen. To be fair to CRJ, Trump himself has said he respects Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping? Whatever his name, Xi. Trump has said specifically that he respects Xi. So, I mean, you know, to you know, yeah, to give CRJ a point, yeah. Thank you, an opinion based on logic, not politics or emotions. Kind of ramen? Spicy bulldog ramen, which is my last packet of spicy bulldog ramen, and I'm very upset about it, and I have to order some more, but I don't want to order more because it costs money, and I'm like, oh, but I'm gonna have to just order some more off of Amazon. Did you run out of your Soylent Green rations? Of course, Trump respects Xi. Trump respects every dictator. One of his couple dozen? Yeah, that's likely one with those numbers. CCP is messed up, but they are a lot smarter and a lot of people in this chat realize. Their goal is to replace America as the global hegemony. That's the problem. I think that's where this all comes from. And like, in reality, it feels like Trump is like waged an outright war with China on the trade front, and it feels like this is either going to spark World War III or China is going to get fucked. I don't think that China is winning this trade war right now, though. I feel like if China doesn't do something drastic, they are going to lose, and they're not going to be able to do anything. Did you hear? Soylent Green is made of people. People! To be clear, the USA has more people incarcerated than China has, and you don't need to dig far into the prison industrial complex before you realize that not all 1.8 million prisoners in the USA deserve to be there. Yeah, but you can't use that as a way of justifying what China's done to the Uyghur people. Like, they haven't just imprisoned the Uyghur people, they've massacred them. They are committing an ethnic cleansing of the Uyghur people. And listen, America has done that in the past. I'm not even going to try to say that we haven't done that in the past. But at least it's been a couple good decades. Like, at least, 5 or 6 decades since we've done it. China is currently doing it. Right now. Why can't we make Chad the #1 economy in the world? Chad coin? Don't be a hypocrite? What do you mean being a hypocrite? How am I being a hypocrite? What? The prisons aren't concentration camps, and whataboutism isn't a valid argument. This is true. This is true. It's like, I'm not gonna say that the U.S. prison system is good. Like, obviously it's not. Like, there's a problem with it. There's this huge systemic problem with our justice system that needs to be fixed. I don't think that... I feel like if I was president, I would, rebuild the justice system from the ground up. Because obviously, it doesn't work very well, and there's problems with it. And there's some really but a lot of those issues are systemic issues that are more, way more complicated than just rebuilding prisons and doing all that. A lot of it has to do with a lot of people are put into positions where they have to commit crimes, and they end up becoming criminals where they really didn't have any other options because of the specific place that they grew up. That's a problem. There's a country called Chad in the middle of Africa. This is true. The U.S. has a system where innocent people have a chance to get out, though. Wow. Not everybody. Not everybody. I mean, the U.S. has definitely disappeared some people, in relatively recent memory. I mean... Listen, okay, if you're gonna argue morality versus, the U.S. versus China, of course, the U.S. is probably gonna come out on top, because it's hard to beat the immoral actions that the CCP has taken in the past 10 years. But let's be honest with you, the U.S. isn't a moral country. Not entirely. Not maybe more than China, but listen, we did some fucked up shit in the past, alright? Yeah, all great countries have done a little fuckery here and there. I mean, look at Germany, they're doing great now. Prison is a joke no matter where you are. Not if you're in Venezuela. That shit's fucked. Whataboutism, of course, is problematic, but if in this context, extra argument seems to be that no matter how badly the U.S. behaves as a trading partner, there is a moral imperative to trade with them and not China, at which point direct comparisons between them would do. That's not what I'm saying, though. See, CRJ, what you did was you took my statements and then you made you straw-manned my argument, and that's not what I was saying. It's like, of course, because I don't think that because China is doing horrible things to the Uyghur people that we shouldn't trade with them. Well, obviously, probably morally shouldn't, but that's not the reason why we shouldn't trade with China. There's other reasons for it, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that China doesn't play fair on the global economic market. And because they don't play fair on the global economic market, certain other countries get shafted and screwed over because they cannot compete with the amount of shit that China dumps into other people's economy. And so it doesn't make sense for those countries to side with China, and it also helps. I know there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons. It's a lot of reasons. You even see the Chinese vape testers. This is like an actual debate right now. I know, right? I love it. I love it. Like I hate the fact that there are people in chat that don't like this debate, because I love this conversation, chat. Why did you mention the Uyghurs? I'm confused now. I don't know, that conversation was like 10 minutes ago. Do you think I remember that shit? Absolutely not. I feel like it's important to note because it plays a part in China's unreliableness as a trading partner, right? It's like they're an unreliable trading partner, because they don't consume as much as... They're not a good trading partner because they don't consume as much as the US market. That's the biggest thing. They just do not consume as much as the US market, and that alone means that most countries are going to side with the US and not China. There's also the fact that China doesn't play by the rules. They fuck over other countries. They don't play nice. They fuck over other people. They're clearly not very good to work with. And they've also committed they are actively committing human rights violations that probably need attention from the world as a whole. Like, regardless of trade, I feel like the whole world needs to come and say, hey, China, stop it. That's not okay. You can't do that. That's fucked up. And we're gonna not let you do that. Like, I feel like that may need to happen, regardless of trade. How many container vessels does the US own? I don't fucking know. I should go on Hassan's show and debate. I'd just basically be saying, fuck you, Hassan. You suck. Suck my dick, Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker, if you're watching right now, fuck you. They committed mass RDM in Gmod. RDM? Right, they RDM'd! Dude, so we gotta get the admins in here. China's RDMing. They keep RDMing. It's funny, it's funny. Just love when Astra says, China. China. Why do you call it the China disease? Because it's from China. That's where it's from. China. The US built no container ships because Reagan destroyed all the shipbuilding unions. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. I think a part of, like, the whole idea here is that, yes, the US market's going to take a hit because we're not going to be able to get cheap shit from China anymore. But we've only been doing that relatively for the past 20 years. And so we need to build our manufacturing at home. And that's the whole idea, is that by putting in tariffs on China, it will incentivize U.S. markets to build homegrown alternatives, which will give more U.S. jobs and boost the U.S. economy, ideally. Trump has heavy bottom brat energy. Dude, what are you talking about? Trump is the heavy bottom brat. Have you ever seen the Trumpy Dumpy? It's massive. Alright? You see, the trade deficit with China is almost as big as my ass. Not okay. We need to take that deficit down. My ass is the biggest thing on this planet, and no trade deficit's gonna come close to being that big, okay? It's competitive, and they're losing money at the benefit of a country that we love to take advantage of us since US fail. Yeah. Hassan Piker, that's that friend with terrorists, and he says babies are settlers and valid targets. Yeah, Hassan's an asshole. Like, Hassan is an actual, like, bad person, I feel like. He said some things... Listen, there's some things you don't say in America, and if you say them in America, everybody's gonna hate you, specifically because you said that. If you, like... Hassan is just... I hate Hassan. It's like, if you're gonna say that America deserved 9/11, I hate you. That is fucking awful. That, like, there's an American bald eagle in my chest that's just like, you son of a bitch! How dare you say that, you piece of shit! Trump impression. I thought you just said you wanted China to fail. Why is it okay for the U.S. to want to beat China, but not the China to beat the U.S.? I never said I wanted China to fail. I don't want China to fail. I think China's a really amazing country with amazing history and an amazing culture. Like, I absolutely love China as a place. I do not want the Chinese people to fail, and I do not want them to suffer. I just don't think that most countries are going to want to trade with them because of the reasons why I've outlined before. It's like, again, the U.S. consumer market is way bigger than China's, so countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Asian countries are going to be way more likely to side with the U.S., specifically because the U.S. has a bigger consumer market than China does, as well as the fact that China does not play by the rules, actively screws over other countries, and makes things harder to do on a global market because they don't follow the rules. That is bigger and a bigger issue than Trump implementing tariffs, which he has every right to do. I don't think countries are like, oh, can you believe America right now? Some of them are probably upset at America, definitely, but Hassan has some base takes, but the 9/11 comment is disgusting. I'm not even American. I don't know if he has based takes. I have not heard a single take from Hassan Piker that I thought, oh, that's a good, that's, I agree with that. Literally not one thing that's come out of that fucker's mouth. If you disagree with Hassan Piker, you're a fucking dumbass. You're a fucking stupid fucking dumbass. I fucking dare Hassan Piker. I dare him. That's fucking piece of shit. Come at me, bro. And before I get, like, completely raided by his legion of Redditors that attack wherever he wants. That was addressed to Dob. Oh shit, sorry. I can tell this is firing you up. I'm also high as fuck. I'd be fine to have a reasonable talk about it. Seeming to want to win. It's also fine for China to want to succeed. Yeah, but I mean, China has to do it fairly. Like, we're not gonna let China walk on other people, especially us, to get there. Like, it's not gonna happen. It makes sense. I see that India's position globally is just so perfectly positioned to take over China, and the U.S. wants that because the U.S. would be a much better trading partner with China or with India if we could invest more in India. It would basically replace China in a way that would also make us not be reliant on our biggest enemy. Hassan personally agree with the Trump tariffs? Oh, I don't actively listen to Hassan Piker. I feel my brain cells dying whenever I hear him talk. Tariffs harm industry. Manufacturing uses cheap inputs. Yes, level 1 manufacturing increases like steel, but industries that depend on cheaper steel will collapse. Planes, computers, you see a shift in manufacturing high-level planes, base goods like steel. I mean, I don't think anyone's arguing that it's not going to hurt. I feel like it will hurt the American economy, and it will hurt American industry. Like, I have no doubt that the tariffs will do that. The idea is, though, is the medicine worth the cure? Because obviously it's not, it's going to suck taking the medicine, but if the medicine cures us the problem of dealing with China, then it might be worth it. I'm a centrist to a fault, and I always prefer anarchy if I were to have it my way. Well, anarchy doesn't work. Anarchy is just communism. I mean, anarchy isn't communism, but if you have anarchy, there's nothing to stop communism from just rooting itself. This anarchy doesn't work. If you go too far down on the political compass, you end up at the top of the political compass. If you go too far up in the political compass, you end up at the bottom. It's like a Pac-Man map. The tariff should have been targeted at China instead of throwing the markets into turmoil. Well, it was targeted at China. It specifically was. The whole idea, as far as I can tell, and again, I'm not super smart on this, but as far as I can tell, the whole idea behind the tariffs were to put the rest of the world in a position where they have to choose. If you just targeted China with the tariffs, the rest of the countries would not have any incentive to distance themselves from China. But because we basically use the threat of tariffs to say, if you don't distance yourself from China, we're gonna tariff the fuck out of you, then it actively incentivizes the rest of the world to choose one or the other. And America is betting that everybody's going to choose America rather than China. You're missing 2 points. The USA is a bigger consumer market than China, but it's not a bigger consumer market than Europe, Canada, and Arabia. And end products are not the only issue. Tariffs are effectively raw materials, intermediates, industry, machinery, etc. as well. Yeah, but if the whole world is siding with the US, that it doesn't, I just don't see Europe siding with China. I feel like your point is that Europe and Canada are like actively siding with China, right? And I don't feel like they are. Also, Arabia is not as big of a market. I don't feel like Arabia is that big. I don't think Europe is that big. I feel like if you combine Europe, Canada, and Arabia into one, maybe their consumer markets comes close to the U.S. I don't even know if it is. I feel the U.S. consumer market is massive. Like, it is massive. And any country worth their weight can't really say, oh, we don't need that. People freak out about the cost of Coca-Cola and beer because the tariffs are people I don't want to love with anyways. People who complain about the cost of Coca-Cola and beer. Oh, my Coca-Cola and beer. Which is your favorite? Which gun is your favorite for concealed carry? Literally, my concealed carry, the Smith & Wesson 340 PD. It will blow your hand up, but it is light as fuck. I almost fucking swung the cylinder shut, which I don't know why I almost did that. That's terrible. Do not ever do that. Chad, if you ever have a revolver, don't swing the cylinder back. It's very hard on revolvers to do that. Anyway, it's a very nice gun. Weighs 11 ounces. Extremely lightweight. Shoots 357 Magnum, very powerful cartridge, especially for a handgun cartridge. Even out of a barrel this short, it's more powerful than a 9mm out of a full-size handgun. Very, very fuck you round. Blows up my hand every time I shoot it. Hurts like a bitch. But if someone's like charging me, I don't really care about how my hand feels. But that's the idea behind this. It's also a revolver, so if you push it into somebody, like, there's no slide on this, so there's no, you can't push it out of battery. If you pull the trigger, it will fire. But on a semi-automatic, hello, Puck, if you push the barrel back, like, even a little bit just like that, then it won't fire because it won't be in battery, right? So if you push the gun into somebody and it, like, pushes it out of battery, it won't fire. 357 is good enough to stop a heart at close range. It's good enough to stop a lot at close range. If countries didn't have a 50 to 220% tariffs on U.S. goods for decades, this would have happened, at least not as severe. The Arab African world is like 3 billion people, about 10 times the U.S. Yeah, but Africa is not a consuming country. Like, yeah, they have a huge population, but they don't consume anything. Not to the degree the U.S. does. I mean, the African consumer market is not even close to the U.S. consumer market. And yeah, there are places in Arabia, like, fucking the big cities that they build all over there, right? That are like in Qatar and whatever. Those are really massive cities, but they are isolated in the greater Middle East. And they're not like the entire Middle East doesn't hold a candle to the amount of consuming that America does. America is like the most consuming place in the world. Not only do we have an insanely high population, everybody in our population consumes like a motherfucker. So it's like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't know. Puck check. Hello, Puck. But 45 is powerful enough to blow a lung out of the body. It's not even true, but I have a 45, but technically 357 Magnum I think is more powerful than 45. Not out of this gun specifically, because this is a snub-nose revolver, so it actually is closer to... This pushes about 1,300 feet per second out of this gun, which out of a snub-nose is insane. It's absolutely insane. It's significantly more powerful than this gun, which is much bigger and not as easily concealed. But this is also 9x18, which is smaller than 9mm. But you have 9mm versus out of a full-size handgun versus 357 Magnum out of a snub-nose. The 357 Magnum is still more powerful than a 9mm, but it's much more comparable. If you take a 357 Magnum out of a full-size revolver and shoot it, and you compare that to a 9mm out of a full-size 9mm handgun, then 357 Magnum blows 9mm out of the water. But out of a snub-nose, they're almost equal. By the average African Arabian consumer is getting richer, which while everyone else would agree the average American is getting poorer. Yeah, but that's not gonna... Those two lines aren't gonna intersect, like, anytime soon. Like, if the Americans getting poorer up here, Arabians getting richer down here, it is gonna be decades before those two numbers meet. Like, not even... I don't even think they ever will meet, to be honest with you, but, like, if they did, it would take decades. Not even remotely, like, you're not going to base your country's economy off the assumption that Arabian countries are going to become more bigger spenders in the future. More bigger spenders. I think people cannot parse how actually wealthy America is. Yeah, Americans are fucking stupid wealthy. Like, it's not even like most of us are getting like feel like poor, but if you have like no money as an American, you're still significantly richer than an African. The way Trump did put tariffs on Vietnam, which would be a very good China diversification, could just make it harder for Vietnam to get more independent from China. Like, obviously China is worse, but what Trump is doing happening in Western Europe and countries probably is only considered criminal. And because Europe, Canada, Japan, South Korea, Mexico, and everyone else Trump is pissing off don't side with China, doesn't mean they aren't there with the U.S. Well, actually, Vietnam specifically is siding with the U.S. on this one. If you notice, when the tariffs first came out, Vietnam and Cambodia and those countries were amongst the highest tariffed countries next to China. And the reason for that is because there's a practice where China will basically take a cargo load of stuff, ship it to Vietnam, leave it there for a little bit, and then import them as Vietnamese goods. And we'll say made in Vietnam, even though it's not actually made in Vietnam. So basically, the idea behind tariffing Vietnam and those other southeastern countries is that by doing so, you can force them to come to the deal. And so Vietnam has actually come to the table with America and said, okay, we'll be really strict about that rule, and we won't let China do that if you don't tariff us and you use us as a manufacturing base over China. And that is a beneficial trade deal between the U.S. and Vietnam that ends up making so that Vietnam isn't tariffed as high. They go back to the 10% tariffs, or even maybe no tariffs, but they're much more stringent on dealing with China. The whole idea behind tariffing those countries is not to actually tariff them, but to get them to come to the negotiating table about not dealing with China. In German TV shows, it's kind of discussing about the question, what is after Trump? Can Europe really sit through another time? I have no idea. Europe's imploding on their own, though. I don't think Trump is going to have anything to do with Europe imploding on itself. There's so much we take for granted, like arguing over politics and hating each other openly. That's my favorite thing. I love that. What do you believe this forces them to choose a side? Most countries seem to want to negotiate with the U.S. while trying to decouple from the U.S. dependency and diversify their markets. Because if you're Vietnam, you have two options. You side with China, and you take a 60% or like 80% tariff from the U.S. So the biggest consumer market that you sell to is going to charge you 80% for every good you sell there, right? That's insane. But at least you get to work with China. Or you work with the U.S. and you keep your market open. It's like basically U.S. saying we're not going to work with you if you work with China. And that's essentially what it boils down to. It's like, obviously, Vietnam wants to work with China as much as they can for, they don't want to be enemies with China. But if the U.S. is basically saying it's us or them, they're going to choose us. Historically, the U.S. has been considered the world's consumer or last resort, but that's just about how much they buy. God damn it. It's about how... Fucking stop! It's about how predictable it takes several months to make a product, and it's hard to plan U.S. behavior in the past few weeks. In the past few weeks, though, but, past 20 years, it's been pretty consistent. The reason no Vietnam got that tariff was because Trump formula was based off of one tries trade deficit. I just don't think that's true, though, CRJ. I think that the reason why he tariffed those countries like that were specifically because they wanted them to come to the negotiation table first. And it seems to me that they have. I don't know. It's hard. Okay, Medical, it's hard to read because every time someone chats in the message box, I have to scroll back up to find it, and then someone else sends a message and it jumps back down. I have to go back. Fuck. Hello, working girls. Hello, Vanna. Would a newer generation be a straight 6 fixing the E30? That'd be cool, but it wouldn't fix it. I'd say it's been the most inconsistent ever post 9/11. I don't know. I feel like American consumption has been up, especially from Southeast Asian countries, since 2002. Bit check, by the way. We just Moogie. You look pretty. I'll take you. Spin. God damn it. All right. Hello, Puck.
In short,
Yeah, that may have been how they came up with the number, but I don't think that's why they decided to tariff them like that, right? Here, let me look this up. Let's see if I can find this. I just look this up on Google because Grok is not working. How has Vietnam responded to the U.S. tariffs? Vietnam has taken proactive measures in response to the U.S. tariffs by consulting with businesses and reducing imports on certain goods from the U.S. and increasing imports from the U.S. And additionally, the Vietnam government has sought to negotiate with the U.S. to lower tariffs and mitigate the impact on the economy. Well, that's a bullshit answer. That didn't really help me. 6 days ago. I have no idea. This is why I like Grok, because it just finds all the answers for me. What has Vietnam done? What? Vietnam strategies. On the side of the escalating impacts in the U.S. tariff measure, Vietnam is now navigating a tightrope. The country's record 123 billion trade surplus to the U.S. makes it a prime target for so-called reciprocal tariffs. Damn it, I fucking hate articles. I don't know. Doesn't really answer any question I was having. Astra trying to reach chat. Starting to notice a huge divide of people that grew up in 9/11 during and after the 90s kids want to be handed to them like the 90s. The 90 kids are fucking stuck in this weird middle realm. Like in post 2001 kids are just brain dead. I don't know. Maybe. I know, chat. Everything I say could be completely wrong. I should mention that. I am not, like, a professional, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Ironically, the large part of Vietnam's export market to the U.S. is companies second sourcing things from China and for extra resiliency. I don't know, fuck, there was a thing, like, I want to see how Vietnam specifically has, like, it's not how should Vietnam respond to U.S. tariffs, no, like, how did they? And they're like, all these are old. So not VietnamNews.vn here. Easing technical barriers, curbing origin fraud, and boosting imports. Directly following President Trump's announcement, the Department of State leaders have engaged in various meetings, working sessions, and phone calls to discuss and to find solutions to remove the tariff barriers imposed by the U.S. government and ensure the harmonization of interests on both sides. On the morning of April 3rd, the Cabinet convened an urgent meeting to assess the situation on the impacts of the tariff policy and propose solutions to adapt to the new situation. The Minister of Industry, Trade, and Hong Dien Nguyen Han, I don't know how to say that, sent a diplomatic note to the U.S. Trade Representative calling for a postponement of the imposition to allow construction dialogue to seek a solution acceptable for both sides. Which countries have not? Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Is this financial advice? Maybe. No. It's not. It's not financial advice. You're wrong. I'm right. I win. There we go. If you turned 21 during COVID, you understand my struggle. I missed the best part of the 90s and was sheltered hard for the best parts of my life in the 2000s. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Zoomers have it rough. Or there's us early Zoomers. We have it rough. The new Zoomers, nah, dude. Vietnam is trying to persuade the U.S. to reconsider. It's not retaliated like China has, and they're seriously hosed if the U.S. doesn't reconsider, but it's unclear what they can do if that situation. They can't agree to parity of trade without abandoning plans to grow their economy. Yeah, but the thing is, like, the U.S. is not... I feel like the U.S. is not going to re-implement those tariffs. Oh, careful, Moogie. Because the reason the tariffs are so high is to force Vietnam to work with the U.S. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but at least that's what it seems to me. I feel like in the long run, honestly, it could be better for Vietnam, just because it might put more manufacturing and more manufacturing jobs in Vietnam instead of China, but we'll see. But yeah. God knows what Gen Alphas will do. Gen Alphas are fucked, dude. Zeke reveal, hopefully by the summer, had to calm down the exercise due to circumstances beyond my control. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like China. At least the CCP. I like China. I don't like the CCP. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. So you could say they ended up just exactly where they began 20 years of the death and destruction. The Taliban won in the long run. This is true. They did basically win. I think you conflate not retaliating with siding. Most countries didn't retaliate because they didn't believe they would stay. What happened? They called Trump's bluff, and due to the market recession, especially rising bond yields, he kind of had to. I don't know. There's that point of view. You can view. There's two ways of viewing it, and I'm not sure which one is true. There's the way of viewing it where it's like, you could view it as Trump blinked and that he saw the bond market crashing and he was like, okay, I have to stop. Or he saw it as an opportunity to do, because like he did the trade of the deal thing where it's like, we're going to ask and basically say, oh, we're going to put all these insane tariffs on everybody and everybody's going to freak out. And then we're going to say, okay, wait a minute. We won't put these tariffs on you if you do what we want. And so there's that point of looking at it. And it's either that or it's the other one, and we don't know which one it is. It's probably, knowing Trump, is probably a mix of both. But who knows? Yeah. Good night, Ash. I'll see you next year. I hope you have a good day. Very nice. Alright, see you, Ash, man. America is leading consumer of everything, but every biopic about any European band has all the same scene where the song breaks into the American charts, and every time the band goes apeshit. Well, it's every damn movie. It's hilarious, but it's true. Yeah, it's true. All politics is a lie. All politics are a lie. The most true thing said. The way I read it, economists saw the bond market faltering and explaining the magnitude of the issue to those surrounding Trump, and they basically strawman Trump into backing down without necessarily managing to explain the issues to him in terms he understood. You could look at it that way. Or you could look at it that Trump was just playing 5D chess all along, and he used the tariffs as a way of positioning the world and the economic market to do what he wants. And it seems like that to me, and that the more I look at it, the more it seems that way. Because if you look at how China, or if you look at how Japan, South Korea, you know, India, like, whatchamacallit?
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you, the Introvert 943, for the follow. If you look at all these countries that were going to be really impacted by that, the ruling, it makes sense from a 5D chess standpoint, where it's like, if you just tariffed China and you did not tariff Vietnam, Vietnam would have no incentive to like crack down on country of origin scams, right? They would have no incentive to do that. But since there's a threat of extremely high tariffs, they're going to be a lot more likely to sign a deal with Trump saying that we're going to actively make sure that doesn't happen now, and that is overall beneficial to the US. It seems to me like the whole idea behind the tariffs were to basically strong arm other countries into making beneficial deals with the US. But I don't know. It could be either way. Rather than just attempting to bully countries, why not just develop a free trade agreement with Vietnam and offer loans for less cooperation with China? China does this in Africa with a lot of success. I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons. Maybe that would be a better idea, but I have no idea because I'm not smart. I don't know. There's probably a reason why he did what he did, and maybe it has to do with the scale of it, because he's obviously not just doing this to Vietnam. Maybe if he only wanted Vietnam, he could have done that, but maybe it's because he wants to do this with all countries around the world, essentially. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I'm not entirely sure. Hello, Moogie. Oh, look at that kitty. France 24. I don't trust any website that has France in the name. This is my right as an American to look at any website that has France in the name and go, I refuse to accept this. I don't know. I never trust like articles though. Articles are always like so biased. This is why bond market did what it did. The pause was prior, so no one strong-armed anyone. He did get tricked by the clean coal grift. I have no idea what that is. Country of origin scans are a messy gray area, though there is difference between importing the shell of a car and finishing it by fitting the wheels and the seats and importing the chips in your electronic product. The first feels sus and the second feels legitimate, but how can you define this distinction? Well, it has to do with, the idea is that since China has a lot of cheap labor, you don't want them flooding other countries' markets with cheap products that are cheaper than they can make in their own country. So it's like if you have Germany and there's a trinket company in Germany that makes money, and then all of a sudden China comes in with their extremely low labor wages and makes the same trinket for a magnitude less amounts of money because they have so much more of that, and they can sell it in Germany's market, undercutting the German company who makes the trinkets, putting them out of business. And the idea behind limiting and putting tariffs on certain items is to limit that from happening. And one of the ways that China gets around this is by putting a different country of origins on those items, so it doesn't necessarily come from China, to get more Chinese goods into those markets. And it's the main problem is not that it's scammy or like fucked up. It's because it's Chinese products that are made at a price that we can't compete with, in flooding our markets and causing our businesses to not be able to withstand the prices that they can afford to sell these things at, right? Everyone can sing a song all they want about your political views, but about who won or who lost, it's like a fight in high school. Who actually won the fight is based off of who you were friends with. Yeah. What do you think about that, Moogie? Moogie, what do you think of the trade deficit with China? With tariffs, you run the risk of countries doing the opposite and becoming hostile, and China does this a lot to, of countries at once, so the U.S. could. Well, this is an interesting stream. I learned quite a bit of cute femboy discussion in the current state of geopolitics. I love discussing the current state of geopolitics. So geopolitically, how does this affect the geopolitical situation in Azerbaijan? I don't know. I think I can get out. I can deal with not having Chinese products in the U.S. Moogie. On to the next topic: how to make a thermonuclear bomb. Well, if you take this one like uranium and you take that, it has these little bits of radiation that kind of shoot out from, that are particles that basically shoot out from this material, and if you put it close to other materials, those particles will shoot out and bump into the other particles, which will cause those particles to move faster, and all of a sudden a chain reaction where particles are bumping into other particles that are causing more particles to move, which is causing more particles to move, and all of a sudden it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and if you put that in water, the water boils, and if you put that boiling water in a pot where you could take the steam and turn it through a turbine, you can create power with it. It's crazy, chat. The spicy rock. Oh, Moogie. Okay. There goes the Moogie. Yeah, but A, what about the benefit of cheaper goods to consumer? B, this can create new industries for cheaper steel, cars, planes production cheaper. America is rich, but not because it makes cheap steel, but because it uses cheap steel to make higher value products. Yeah, obviously that's true to an extent, right? And there is, like, I feel like there's just a balancing act, though. Because if you flood your market completely with Chinese goods, then no U.S. company will be able to compete with the low labor costs in China, right? And the volume of products being shipped out of China, we just cannot compete. And so there has to be a certain level of balance between that, where it's like, it makes sense to have that for products that are more expensive to make here in the US, and it makes it's a better idea to outsource that to other countries that do it better and cheaper, obviously, but there's an extent, right? There's a limit to how much that benefits you as a country, which is honestly why I feel like if the US pivoted towards making India the new world's factory, it would benefit India excessively. Like, it would be a massive, like, increase in India's GDP, right? And not only that, but it would also make it so we don't have to deal with not having these cheaply made products at home. It's just that we're switching who we're buying from. I'm really looking for your well thought out opinion from a very intelligent female on tariffs. What is your opinion, Moogie? Moogie. Hi, Moogie. There's a difference between cheaper steel and crap steel, though. China's steel is garbage. Just look at the building that collapsed in Thailand recently. Yeah, that's the thing that happened. Wasn't that Myanmar? I don't remember. Basically the same place. That's where the market forces come into play. You build quality and brand loyalty into your products, and to convince your target consumer to pick your product over the cheaper product. That's how you get Snap-on surviving and thriving in the marketplace, flooded by Harbor Freight and Amazon. Yeah, but even Snap-on makes tools in China. Like, even, like, there's no, at a certain point, there's no way to avoid it. Even if you're buying the nice brand Snap-on, Blue Point, which is Snap-on's, like, cheaper brand, is all made in China. Like, it's not, it's like, it's hard to compete as an American company, even if you have a better product. Competing against China is just hard. And I feel like that's why the tariffs are so important. That's where market, yeah. But a lot of what we get from China isn't even necessary stuff. It could be made here. It could all be made. Yeah, it could all be made here. Not that that doesn't necessarily mean it should all be made here, but it could. It was Bangkok. Same place, basically. I mean, that's basically the same. That's like saying a building collapsed in Tallahassee, comparative to, like, Alabama. Like, Tallahassee is basically Alabama and Florida. Like, it's the same region. Like, it's all right there. That armpit between, like, Thailand and India. It's all right there. It's basically the same place. It's like Bangladesh, Thailand, Myanmar. It's right. They're right there next to each other. I'm being questioned by the MI5. The Men in Black. I hope more jobs come back in the U.S. I think more jobs will come back in the U.S., but I don't know. It's hard to say how things are gonna go. I'm optimistic, though. I will say that I'm optimistic. I'm more optimistic than I was when I first, like, heard that Trump paused the tariffs, because I thought initially that, and that could still be the case, that he did just blink, but the more I read into how other countries are actually responding to the tariffs, and moreover the pause in tariffs, it seems like it was a 5D chess play, and so I'm optimistic, but I could be wrong. Yeah, but Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. Yeah, but it's basically Alabama. Like, I mean, like, come on. Like, you know, like, Georgia is geographically very different than Florida, but Florida and southern Alabama are like the same place. It's like, you wouldn't even know if you got placed in if you got placed in Tallahassee, and then if you got placed in fucking Kissimmee, you would not know the difference just by looking around. It's not. I mean, I guess there are more palm trees in Kissimmee, but, you know, it's kind of hard to notice that much. I want to be a professional vape tester. Seems like that would be a hazardous job. A lot of these Chinese vapes are not good for you. They're really bad for you, actually. You're very elegant in that dress. I like your crop top uniform, but you look spectacular in dresses. Oh, thank you. MI5 and the MI6 are two branches of UK's intelligence services. There's GCHQ, which corresponds to the NSA. Ah. So it's like the CIA, but gay. China's steel is garbage. So is Chinese cement. Most things that the Chinese make is garbage. It's pretty true. If it's a livable wage, I wouldn't care, but people are down hard labor, like it's a curse, and we're above that as a country. Well, I'm pondering getting a job as a sex toy industry, just for discounts. I don't know, I don't buy that many sex toys. I will say, I have been missing them. I think most of them are in the apartment, and I am missing them. Can we agree on that? We can agree on also being a cashier would be fun. I don't know if that'd be fun. I would love to talk about onto job site and have a job. Unskilled labor in this country boils down to fast food and retail. But even then, it's hard to get a job. It's like I tried for months to get anything, and I couldn't. Like it literally, it was impossible for me to get anything. And it's like the unskilled labor jobs. The problem is because college fucked everything up. Because college promised people prosperity, and like if you go to college and you really get a high-paying job, but in reality, it's more and more people went to college, but the jobs didn't increase as a result. And so then you have people graduating college with these degrees, and when they can't get the jobs they want, so they go into low-paying jobs instead of mid-range jobs. So now the lower-range jobs are all taken up by people with college degrees, and so now no one who's actually a low-skilled laborer can actually get a job at the low-end thing. It's very, very annoying. Do you need me to break into your apartment? Yes, Dom. If you could break into my apartment, grab all of my sex toys, and bring them right to me, that'd be great. How sad. Let me play the world's smallest violin. It would be lower wages as making your lower value goods or essentially shipping jobs from China to the US. If you want a lower standard of living for more stuff at home, we disagree. Yeah, I don't know. Good luck, dude. You need a 2 to 3 years experience in most jobs nowadays. I have 2 to 3 years of experience in sex toys. Isn't that right, Moogie? We need to lower the cost of living to make those jobs worth it. True. True. We do need to lower the cost of living. Like how I have my Matthew Lillard thing right there. Dob on a dildo hunt 2025. She just has 5+ years of experience with pens. How do you lower the cost of living with capitalism? There's plenty of ways to lower the cost of living. What are you talking about? You zone... If I was president, you could literally lower the cost of living by creating new cities with affordable housing. Like, affordable housing is like the #1 thing, right? Is you zone areas that are... You commission companies to build low-end housing that is sufficient to like house people, and then you zone areas for that are low-cost housing. And you say, oh, we're gonna charge this much for this housing based off how much we spent making it, and we're gonna make it specifically so it's low-cost housing. But like, the problem is a lot of places like California, people who own other houses don't want lower-cost housing to be built because it devalues their housing, which is like, I've invested like $100,000 into this house. I don't want that investment going away because someone built a house down the corner that costs half as much, which makes my house worth less. It's very complicated. Zoning sounds like government overreach. It isn't. It isn't. Hello, BlackRock. The average wage in China has... Yeah, well, yeah. That's one way you increase the living ability of average humans. You just basically, like, tell companies you can't own more than 100 residential homes. Fuck you. You cannot buy millions of residential homes in the U.S. and then charge exorbitant prices for them because you control the market. It's dumb. Oh, sorry, movie. Say it, Astra. I think Battle Pass tests sex toys on the regular, but I wouldn't know. I could do a sex toy review channel on the BP chat. Should I do that? Do they have tipping in Chipotle? Not necessarily. Like, if you, there's not like a thing for it. Like, you can obviously tip in Chipotle, but you can't, there's not like a button for it. There we go. There you go, Moogie. The donation goal is covering up the Moogie. I see Matthew Lillard peeking around the corner. Yeah. Oh, Moogie. Hold on, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. I just need to double check. Okay, there we go. That works, I can do that. I thought for a second that it would have showed too much, but it's okay. We're good. There's a town of Brisbane next to Oakland, California. It's entirely owned by a Chinese company called Universal Paragon Corp. See, that's a problem. Like, we shouldn't let that happen. If I went to Chipotle and saw Astra, I would leave you a crispy Andrew Jackson. Oh shit. I don't know, you might be able to. That depends if they ever ask me to come back. I don't know, I might like not work there for much longer, I guess. Hello, Mookie. Rent is extortion. We have plenty of houses, nobody can afford them because large companies are coming in and buying entire subdivisions to rent out. Yeah, that's the main problem. The other problem in Florida is the insurance. Like, it's hard to get insurance in Florida. You quit Chipotle already? No, I have not quit Chipotle. Oh, there goes Merc. I have not quit Chipotle, and I do not intend to. But Chipotle may have quit me. I'm not sure because it's been. I worked Friday, and I left. She said I'd reach out to you and you come back, and I have not heard anything. I don't know when I'm supposed to come back. I did hear from another job opportunity that I could potentially get hired somewhere else, so I'm probably gonna like follow up on that and see if they'll pay more or some shit, because at this point I need to make sure I have something. But like, fuck, dude, it's annoying. Like, ideally you get the schedule and then you go, and I just go, but I haven't gotten a schedule, and I basically get told come in on this day for an unknown amount of time and then leave, and then we'll tell you where to come back, and it's like I haven't heard from them. No way President, a landlord, is going to do anything about the cost of living for renters. Wait, what? I can get a decent space for under 50K and live out in the sticks. We are getting only screwed on convenience. Driving more than 30 minutes to Walmart is a pain for most. True. China average wage. Yearly wages. What about this? Pogstra. To regulate those companies from buying a yeah. I hope you pass the drug test. Why would I need to pass a drug test? What job am I getting that I need to pass a drug test for? It's not too bad 2 days since you worked. Not too bad. I mean, it's only been 2 days. I worked Friday. It's Monday today, chat. I thought it was Sunday. I looked at the fucking calendar and I saw that it was fucking Monday, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's Monday. I was like convinced it was Sunday, and I'm like, oh, it's only Sunday. And then I look at it's Monday. I'm like, what? It's Monday? Sometimes I'm replying to other people in chat, not you. The clue is the at person at the start. And listen here, you motherfucker. Listen here, you motherfucker. It's Tuesday right now, hey? If you look in the right places and change your must-haves, you can find plenty of stuff for 50K, close enough to shops and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, it depends. I mean, drag test a new job. Why? Again, what new job would I be getting that needs a drug test? Not every job requires a drug test. Astra likes to be informed about her chat. Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you, Vanna. Thank you. Vanna gets it. You can get a condo at Daytona Beach for 70K on the beach. It's true. Then you have to live on Daytona Beach. I'm not against trade, I'm against making bad deals. Someone's always gonna make out with an advantage on a deal. 50-50 is impossible, obviously. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, chat. I think it is high time I go make some ramen, because I'm hungry. And I have one piece of ramen left, and so I'm probably gonna make that. I'm probably gonna have to order some more, but... Did you renew your CDL? I have to before the 7th. If I don't before the 7th, then no. But I've got to update my driver's license anyway because I moved. So I have to do that anyway. So I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do that all at the same time. That's in UN, not US dollars. You need to convert it. I should. Thanks for sharing. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. I will see you guys. You need to go to Chipotle tomorrow and get some lunch and ask when you're going to work. I'm not gonna get lunch. Like, all right, come on. I don't want to eat more Chipotle than I have to. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out. I'll see you guys later. Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Raid? Is there somebody that I want to raid right now? That's online? Femboy UK is live? Raid Femboy UK? Is Femboy UK live? Oh, he is. Femboy UK is live. Is Femboy UK VTubing? That's crazy. That's crazy. Alright, should I raid Femboy Femboy UK? Hold on, wait a minute. You guys think of all the bands? Maybe you get more viewers? Maybe. Alright. I'll raid Femboy UK. Alright, does the avatar have legs? No. Wait, the cat what? Anyway. Alright, hold on, chat. I'm gonna get this raid set up. I'm gonna get this raid set up. We're gonna raid Femboy UK. Femboy UK. Thank you everybody for watching. I will see you guys later. Annual salary, so not that huge. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Taking ages. I know, alright. Listen, I had to find the thing. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!